Hello fellow Stronghold players. Have you ever wondered how to get the most out of your food, wood, stone, and iron production? Today I'm going to break that all down for you, so if you're passionate about perfecting your game like I am, please hit the like button, join the community by subscribing. Managing resources in Stronghold Definitive Edition can feel like a balancing act. One wrong move and you're suddenly out of food, stone, or worse, you're watching your villagers twiddle their thumbs as people flee your stronghold with the world burning around you. Trust me, I've been there. A lot of this may never happen if we know how to make sure your economy never stops running, and that's what we're discussing today. So what exactly is an optimal economy in Stronghold? Picture this: no idle villagers, short travel times, and too many resources to spend. You know how you wish it was in real life. It's not just about stockpiling, it's about efficiency. Here are a few must-have principles. 1. Keep your workers busy, no slacking off. 2. Place your stockpile and granary close to where they need to be. And 3. Keep your popularity above 50%, because nothing's going to tank your economy faster than unhappy villagers that are fleeing your stronghold. So let's kick things off with industry. Wood, stone, iron, and oil. These resources are going to be the backbone of your solid defensive effort, so managing them well is important. Let's break it down. Wood. So each worker, assuming that they're gathering near the stronghold, will bring back about 2.03 wood per month, and that'll come out to about 24.41 wood a year. Wood is essential to building pretty much every other building and usually becomes the first resource you primarily focus on when setting up your economy in Stronghold. Stone? Every worker will drop off 8 stone per trip. With 1 ox cart and 1 quarry, you can produce around 18 stone a year. But to keep it running efficient, an optimal quarry will actually have 2 ox carts, which should net you more than the 18 stone per year that I initially mentioned. Iron's also important. An active iron mine is going to require 2 villagers, with a villager consistently creating iron, and another villager that runs back and forth taking the iron from the iron mine to the stronghold. Villager is going to bring back 1 iron per trip, and it's going to produce about 4.86 iron a year. It becomes important to get as many iron mines up as possible if you want to maintain military production. Oil is very deadly when used right. Each worker brings back 1 oil, which turns into 4 tiles of pitch. So the gather rates for oil are going to be highly dependent on how much oil the villager will have to go through to return the oil. So if you have a large oil field, expect this process to take much longer. Let's get into the nitty-gritty of food gathering. Here's a fun food fact. Your villagers eat about 0.19 food per month, which sounds small, right? But when you got a growing population, it's going to add up fast. So how do you make sure you're always stocked up? Let's look at the 3 raw food sources first before we go into the main food production cycle. On a raw food, the hunter's post is kind of the wild card of the stronghold economy. It's unpredictable, but if you're on a small map, it can provide a decent fast food source. When I did my testing, I found that one post could sustain around 4 workers, but that was on a larger map. So on one end, that's not bad for a guy with a bow, but on the other end, if he's got to walk halfway across the map, you're going to have problems. Next up is the wholesome dairy farm, or the cheese farm. Villagers are going to bring back 3 cheese per trip, and they'll produce about 1.17 cheese per month. Well, that is until your cows start disappearing because you opened up a tannery. The dairy farm only produces food when all 3 cows are available. So keep dairy for the early game, but once you get those macemen and crossbows going, you might want to switch to something more reliable. Finally, you have apple farms, the most reliable of the raw food. Apples aren't going to run around the map like the hunters, and they aren't going to get chopped up and turned into armor like the cows. One villager will drop off 3 apples per delivery, and they produce about 1.86 apples a month. One apple farm can feed about 9 villagers, making it the most sustainable option of raw food for larger populations, again assuming you can place the orchards close to the granary. Now if you're feeling ambitious, we can move on to the bread economy. Yes, it's a bit of a commitment, but once it's rolling, it's the most efficient food source in the game. Bread chain works like this: wheat becomes flour, becomes bread. Actually, it's more like this. Simple, right? Well, not exactly. It's going to take about 16 months to get bread on the table once you start this chain. So make sure you got enough apples, meat, or cheese to hold your people over till that first loaf pops out of the bakery. Why does it take that long? Well, let's take a closer look. Wheat is where the whole process starts, and it's a bit of a slow burn. Your worker plants the farm, and then for the first 7 months, you're not going to see any wheat in the stockpile. That's right, 7 months, nothing. Once the wheat finally starts growing, your worker will deliver 2 wheat per month for the next 12 months before hitting the reset button and starting that whole cycle over again. So for the numbers people out there, that's going to leave 1.22 wheat per month or 14.64 wheat per year per farm. Not bad, but you are going to need patience. Flour is the next step in this process. So once you've got the wheat, this is where things will pick up pace. 3 villagers will work the mill. 1 wheat is going to turn into 1 flour. With the mill being the fastest part of the bread chain, it can produce about 2.33 flour per month, or around 28 flour per year, assuming you get enough wheat to keep the wheels turning. So yes, the mill is your MVP in this chain, but don't get too comfortable yet because we're still not done. And finally, here we are to the main event, bread. Your baker is going to take that 1 flour and turn it into 8 loaves of bread. But here's the kicker, baker will only make that delivery once every 4 months. That means per bakery you'll get around 2 bread per month or 24 loaves per year. And since 1 bakery can sustain about 10 villagers, it's clear why bread is such a game changer once you get past that waiting period, of course. And in that waiting period, you will be twiddling your thumbs for a bit while waiting for that first loaf. To break that down, it took me 10 months to harvest the wheat, about 2 months to get flour production going, and then 4 more months for the baker to deliver that first batch of bread. Moral of the story is, don't rely on bread early, unless you want to see all your villagers starve before they can smell the fresh bread. So what lessons can we say we've learned? It takes 3 wheat farms, 1 mill, and 8 bakeries to keep a constant and efficient supply of production going. This 3-1-8 cycle will sustain about 80 people, if everything goes smoothly, meaning you don't get attacked by rabbits, the crops don't get diseased, or everything just doesn't burn down around you. So here's how to streamline your bread economy. Wheat farms and mills should be close to the stockpile. Bakeries should be near the stockpile and the granary. Don't worry about putting your wheat farms next to the granary because they don't need to be close. They don't do anything with the granary directly. And for one last tip, if you're playing on a map where wheat keeps dying, stockpile that wheat. You'll need more farms to ensure a steady flow. A well-managed baker's chain is the most productive food source in Stronghold, so it's worth the effort once you get it set up. Mastering the bread economy can be a game changer if you got the patience. If this helped you level up your game, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe. If you have any tips for managing your own bread chain, or want to see more deep dives like this, please drop a comment below, and I'd love to hear from you. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.